loud. Debbie, all right, good. We're getting there. We're getting somewhere. All right, you guys, I'm gonna mute you and we're gonna get started.
Great.
All right. Okay, so good morning. Very cold morning. Everybody gets a gold star for leaving her bed. So right now, I think I mentioned this last week, we're about to start this major construction project on our house, with the end goal being that my in-laws are coming to live with us. We're building on an in-law suite, but the first phase of this project is that we're doing like part of the interior of our house to make the kitchen bigger to accommodate more people in the shared space. And so it starts on Tuesday, and I have been this whole month working on, I have 3 rooms, my dining room, my kitchen, and my office, that all had to get completely emptied and like find a place for all that stuff in my house, which is not, you know, huge or anything. So it's been a project. And the way that I am and the way that I had to do it to feel okay about it was that I really had to make sure it was organized and not just like in the past I've moved where, you know, you're throwing stuff into boxes, but just like I'll figure it out later, right? That kind of whirlwinds. And I didn't want this to be like that. I didn't want it to be like a pile of stuff in my basement. So that meant I had to go through my whole basement and go through stuff that was still in boxes from when we bought our house, and donate a bunch of things and do the same thing in my garage. And so it just had me thinking that, and I'm glad I did it that way, although I'm down to the wire now, I still have stuff to do because it took more time. But there's this kind of this sacred order, right, in life, that when we work with it, things become easier. This is a very Saturn energy of like, do it the right way from the beginning and build those pieces so that you have this kind of solid foundation. And the same thing is true for our yoga practice. There is this sacred order, whether we're aware of it or not. Yoga teachers are aware of it, so we teach this way, in terms of how you should go about building your pose so that it's the most optimal state of being for your energetic experience, if that makes sense. So we're going to work a little bit with that today, with this kind of divine order of things. So let's take a nice comfortable seat, and you can sit up on some props, blankets, blocks. Ideally, you want the top of your thighs. So we often think about our hips as being up here, like hands on your hips, right? But this is your pelvis. Your hips are where your femur bone goes into your pelvis. So your hip socket is down much lower. So we want our hips higher than our knees. So that means sitting up maybe a lot, right? Like on a lot more props than we think, so that our hip bones or our leg bones can go comfortably into the hip socket. And so that the hip flexor muscles, like if you were to now lift your knees higher than this part of your body and feel right here, you'll feel that this whole section gets activated, right? It's tense, it's gripping. And we don't want that in yoga, because that's how those muscles are for most of our lives. So see if you can adjust your seat to make a little more space for yourself. And then once you have that, you'll close your eyes and sit up nice and tall. Take your shoulders up, back, and down. And let the crown of your head rise up towards the sky. So the very first step in building our foundation for our yoga practice is not necessarily what you might think. And it's not even necessarily what sometimes we as yoga teachers cue, which is your foundation, the parts of your body that are on the ground. What needs to come even before that is our mental awareness, the attention and focus of our mind. So before we do anything, can you allow yourself to become a little more present? Can you bring this inner awareness to your physical self in this room and to the present moment? It's the mind's nature to wander, to think thoughts, to go backwards into the past and to plan forward into the future. And so we take this, our will and our ability to focus, our ability to shine our light of awareness. We shine that here and now, and we call the thinking mind back to this moment. We do this again and again. And then from here, we bring the awareness to the breath. Notice your breath. Maybe it's the first time all day, all week, you've noticed. And just see if you could allow your breath to be a little fuller, to be a little deeper. Then bring the awareness to your body and to your foundation. Let your hips, your legs, your feet all get heavy. Let those bones be weighted. You could imagine that you're growing roots deep and wide into the earth beneath you. And from this place of being very grounded, see if you could also relax. See if you could relax into the support that the earth gives you. And build your pose from there. Now, as you inhale, lengthen your spine, the crown of the head rises up towards the sky. Maybe once again, the shoulders come up, back and down. Create more space in your side bodies, more space in your heart center, more space in your mind and in your body. And then we notice that there's also more space for breath, more room to be, a bigger container to hold our entire experience as a human being, our physical self, our breath, our mind, our emotions, and our divine connection to something greater than ourselves, whatever that means for you. And then please draw your hands together in front of your heart. I invite you to set an intention for your practice today. And maybe it's simply to notice this sacred order and apply it to your practice or to your life. Maybe you notice about yourself that the days go much easier if you start them a certain way. And can we commit to doing that, even though maybe it takes longer, maybe it's more work, maybe it's more of a challenge. We'll seal in our intentions and begin our class with 3 cleansing breaths. Take a deep breath in and let it go. 2 more like that. And then gently bow your head to your heart. Slowly open your eyes, release your hands. You can come off of your props. Just move them off to the side and then we'll come down onto our backs. And we'll start a constructive rest where your feet are as wide as your mat and your knees knock in onto each other. Your arms can be down by your sides with your palms face up. You could place your hands on your body. You could take your arms overhead. Notice what feels best for you. And then same thing here. We'll start to work with this divine structure. First, becoming aware of yourself in the present moment, calling yourself back to the here and the now. And kind of creating this connection between the mind and the body. Then the awareness shifts to the breath. Once we've established our connection to the breath, then notice your physical body and now feel how big your foundation is here on the earth, how many points of contact there are with your body and your mat, with the ground beneath you. And consciously see if you could let those parts get heavier. Feel yourself kind of sink or settle down into the ground, becoming more grounded, more rooted. Notice if there's any adjustments that you need to make. You could bring your feet in closer to your body or further away and see how that changes the pose. Maybe feet need to come wider apart or a little closer together. What kind of shift or change do you need to make here to find more comfort and ease in your body? And then see if you can relax. Release your tongue away from the roof of your mouth or the back of your teeth and let it get heavy and wide on your lower palate. Make some space between your eyes. Making some room for your third eye. And then let's take 3 more cleansing breaths here. Deep breath in. Let it go. 2 more. Now hug your right knee into your chest. Extend your left leg long on the ground. Applying some pressure here as your thigh moves towards your chest and guiding your knee in towards the midline of your body rather than towards your armpit. Notice if there's a lot of tension or sensation in your hip flexors as you squeeze the knee in towards the body. Then take your knee in your left hand, right arm comes out to the side, either in a T or a cactus. Take a breath in as you exhale, we'll twist, draw the knee across the body over to the left. You'll roll onto your outer left hip. Your gaze can come out over your right shoulder. Notice if the hip starts to hike up towards your rib cage. Can you press that away? Notice your low back. Ideally, it'll be perpendicular to the ground. So you could feel it with your right hand, make some adjustments. And if your right shoulder starts to pop up off the floor, you could bring your right hand to rest on your right rib cage. Inhale, come back to center, extend your right leg to meet your left. Notice if it feels a little more grounded. And second side, hug your left knee into your chest. Taking a few breaths here to pressurize the thigh, drawing the knee in towards the midline of the body. Maybe it lines up with the outside of the left side of your neck. See if you could relax your shoulders back and down and keep the front of the heart broad, collarbones expansive. So with these poses, we're setting the foundation for the rest of our practice. We're grounding. We're literally laying on the earth. We're slowly opening the body by releasing tension in the hip flexors, doing some gentle twists, which open the energetic channel and neutralize our energy, so that we can start our practice from a place of neutrality instead of from a place of whatever it is we brought in with us. Take your left knee in your right hand, left arm comes out to the side, breath in as you exhale, twist. Guide the knee over towards the right. You'll roll all the way onto your outer right hip. The pinky toe edge of your right foot comes down to the ground. Maybe the low back is perpendicular to the earth, straight up and down. And then depending on how tight the upper back is, will determine whether your shoulder can come down to the ground. And if it doesn't, don't even worry about it. You just place your hand on your rib cage and breathe. It's so easy to lose the connection to the breath when we practice. It's so easy to lose the connection between the mind and the body, for the thinking brain to take us outside of our experience. So the work is again and again, can we come back to our foundation? Can we come back towards working the steps and doing things the right way, for lack of a better word? Inhale back through center, hug both knees into your chest, then roll to your right side, make your way up to all fours, coming into a tabletop position. So here we'll build the pose with our physical foundation by placing wrists under your shoulders, index fingers point straight ahead. So you spread your fingers evenly wide. There's space between each finger. The tendency is for the index fingers to dial, for the hands to dial in. So if you were to imagine that like a laser beam of light shot out of your index finger, you would want those lines to be parallel, like lines on the road, right? Rather than crossing somewhere towards the top of your mat. That makes sense. And then walk your knees back until they're just under your hips, maybe even slightly behind. So again, we want to lengthen the hip flexors. So if the knees are too far forward, it shortens them, right? We have tension here. Walk your knees back, give yourself a little more room. Tuck your toes under. Then before you move, come back to your breath. Come back into your body. Then let your breath bring the movement in. As you inhale, sitting bones lift, tailbone lifts, belly softens, melt the heart, gaze up. Exhale, round through your back, tailbone draws down, belly lifts, chin to your chest. Flow with your breath. When we first start doing yoga, and sometimes for years and years and years afterwards, we're moving our bodies and trying to link up the breath to match those movements, right? It's like move, inhale, move, exhale. When really that's backwards. We want to inhale, move, exhale, move. Let the breath be what guides the movement in the body, what initiates the movement and the pose. And then even when we hold the pose, when we're in a static position, that breath, that expansion and contraction makes the pose energetically alive. There's this subtle movement of the energetic body, even though it looks like we're physically still, we're not. A few more breaths like this. Then come back to a neutral spine. From here, walk your hands out, and you know what, have a block. We're gonna take a block and kind of place it right in between your hands, let's say, and maybe a little closer to your face. It all depends. You might have to move it eventually. And then we're gonna come into puppy pose. So you're gonna keep your hips exactly where they are. Your hips stay over your knees. You don't shift them back. That's the trick. If your knees bother you here, use a blanket under them, and then walk your hands out until your upper body is in down dog. And then you can rest your forehead, your third eye, right on the block. So I just had to move my block a little further. Press your hands down and lift your forearms away from the ground. Feel your shoulder blades draw onto your back. Draw your low belly in, so you're protecting your low back here, and lift your sitting bones up towards the sky. So you're making space and room in your low back and your pelvis. And if none of that makes sense, then you just let it not make sense. And you take what lands, what sticks, and you leave the rest. This is a surprisingly difficult pose. It looks unassuming. I find that it's much harder for me than even down dog. When that happens, or if that happens, deepen your connection to your breath. Bring your mind back to the moment. Check back in with your physical foundations. And then go ahead and walk your hands in, take your knees wide, big toes together, hips back towards your heels, come into child's pose. You could even keep the block if you liked that. And bring the block underneath the forehead here. Maybe it drops down a setting. In child's pose, we're asked to surrender the heart, to melt the heart space and let the chest move down towards the mat so that eventually, maybe it even touches the ground. Can you let go of any tension, anything you're carrying that's no longer serving you, that's a weight that you'd like to release? Then inhale, come back up to table. Toes tuck under, wrists under your shoulders. And from here, this one gets a little tricky. So if you've never done this before, you'll just watch for a second. We're going to pivot our right foot off of the mat. So it's going to come out to the side with a kickstand with toes tucked under, as much as you can get it. Then all of the weight is going to come into your right hand, and the eye of your elbow, the inside of your elbow crease, is going to face forward. It's going to roll forward. Then you'll bring weight into that right hand and extend your left foot, your left leg long. Sole of the foot comes down to the ground, and you'll inhale, reach your left arm up. So this is a side plank or a Vashisthasana variation. Beautiful, you guys. Yeah, maybe the foot needs to kickstand out of now that we're here. Maybe you can move a little bit more. And then we can open up the heart, start to curl the shoulders back, bringing the heart towards the sky. The hips can press forward. Maybe it feels really good to take the left arm out in line with your ear. Full body stretch through the left side. Pressing the pinky toe edge of your foot down into the ground and extend out through your fingertips from there. Breathe. Exhale, release, and then we'll do the second side. So the left foot kicks out to the left, toes tuck under, all of the weight in your left hand. You roll the eye of the elbow forward. That's important to protect your shoulder. When you extend the right leg back, The whole right foot comes flat to the ground, and then when you're ready, inhale, sweep the right arm up. Press the pinky toe edge of your right foot down. Maybe you take your right arm out in line with your ear, full body stretch. Can you rotate your chest, your heart up towards the sky? Take a few breaths. Notice where your mind goes. Where's your awareness? Exhale and release. And then make your way slowly into downward facing dog. Toes tuck under, send your hips up and back. Press your chest back towards your thighs. You can pedal out through your legs here, bending one knee and sending the opposite heel towards the ground. Kind of waking up the back of the legs, the hamstrings, the calf muscles. Notice when you hold your breath and see if you could invite in a deeper connection to your breath. Can you feel the breath even down into your low belly? Come back into table, knees come down. We're going to move through this little flow here that looks like this. So from table, you can pick up your feet, shift your hips and your weight forward. And as you exhale, lower yourself all the way down to your belly. Pick up one knee, lengthen it back, bring it down. Same thing on the other side. So making space in the hip flexors once again. Then extend your legs, press the tops of the feet down, toes point. Notice that your shoulders collapse towards the earth. So you resist that. You keep your shoulders moving up, back, and down. Keep them lifted. From here, press into your hands, especially press the bones of your index fingers and your thumbs into the earth. And as you breathe in, lift your heart, little cobra. Exhale, press back, child's pose. We're going to do that 2 more times. So you'll inhale up to table. Exhale, lower all the way down to the ground. Make that space. Point your toes, tops of the feet press. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, child's. Couple of breaths. And one more. Inhale, come up into table. Lift your feet, shift your hips, your heart forward. Exhale, bend your elbows, lower all the way down. Walk your knees back, extend the legs. Inhale, heart lifts. Exhale, child's pose. Next breath in, come into downward facing dog. And here, have your blocks up towards the top of your mat. So you may have to come down to make that adjustment. Then from down dog, your right leg will lift as you inhale. As you exhale, lunge it forward. This may take a couple of steps, couple of movements. but you want to get your foot up high enough so that your ankle is underneath your knee. From there, you can come up onto your fingertips, or you may find that coming up onto your blocks gives you more space. Try both. So right knee is over your right ankle. Press your left thigh up towards the sky more than you think you should. Even lift your hips a little higher away from your mat. Draw your right hip back, your left hip moves forward. Then from there, you could bend a little more deeply into your front thigh. Shoulder blades on the back, heart open, gaze forward, breathe. Take your left hand down onto the ground off of the block. You could even come off of your mat onto the floor next to it. And then inhale, sweep your right arm up. Breathe. Exhale, release. From here, pivot your back heel down. See that your heel to arch aligned, so your front heel dissects the arch of your back foot. Bring your right forearm up onto your right thigh, your left hand on your hip. The right sitting bone, that right hip, scoops under. Bend a little more deeply into your front thigh. Pivot your chest, your heart open, and then extend your left arm out in line with your ear. Press the pinky toe edge of your left foot into your mat. Extend out through your fingertips. Bring your left hand back down onto your hip. Take your right hand to a block on the pinky toe side of your right foot, and then walk it back a little bit. So it's kind of in line with your ankle. Then straighten your right leg. You may find that you need more height with the block. Coming into triangle pose. So both legs are straight. The hips face towards the left side of your mat. Rotate your heart open. Left arm straight up to the sky. Trikonasana. Bend into your right knee, cartwheel your arms down, pivot your back heel up, step back, downward facing dog. Options here to stay in down dog, to come into child's pose, or to move through a vinyasa. We'll all meet back in downward facing dog. And from here, your left leg lifts as you inhale. Step it forward as you exhale. Many steps as it takes. You can come up onto your blocks here. Left knee over the left ankle. Press your right thigh up towards the sky. Create more space underneath the pose by lifting your hips. And then notice that gives you more room to move the hips, right? The right hip draws back, left hip wraps forward. And then from there, keeping your legs this strong, then you can bend a little more into your front knee, front thigh, maybe comes more parallel to the ground. Right hand comes down onto the mat or even off of the mat a little bit. Lift your left arm up as you twist. So you feel your front foot flat on the ground. All four corners of the foot are rooted. You're up on the ball of your back foot. Heel lifts. Curl the shoulders back. Exhale, release. Now your back heel pivots down. So both feet are flat on the earth, but your front foot faces forward. Bring your left forearm onto your thigh and your right hand on your hip. Good. Now notice that your chest is facing down towards the ground most likely. So you're going to rotate it, lift the heart. Yes. There we go. Scoop the left sitting bone underneath you a little more and extend the right arm out in line with your ear. Press into the pinky toe edge of your back foot, extend out through your fingertips, breathe. Bring your right hand to your hip, your left hand comes down to the block. You can walk the block back a little bit so it's in line with the outside of your left shin. Maybe it comes up higher. Straighten your left leg. Triangle pose. Same thing here, chest rotates. Right shoulder curls back, heart opens, then extend the right arm up. Beautiful, you guys. Breathe. Little bend into the left knee, cartwheel the arms down. Make your way into down dog, take your time. You can stay right here. You can come into child pose, or you can move through one final vinyasa. Up to you. If you're moving through the vinyasa, you'll come forward to a high plank. Knees can come down or stay lifted. Exhale to lower all the way to your belly. Inhale, curl the shoulders back, lift the heart. Exhale, back into down. And then from here, we'll make our way to sit. It's a good time for water. Water break. And then you'll bring the soles of your feet together. Take your knees wide, Uttanasana. You can move the flesh away from your sitting bones here. So you'll press your feet into each other. So there's a thing, it's kind of hard to explain, but it's called a sickled ankle. You know what a sickle is? Like the farming tool that I was thinking for a reaper, but that kind of this shape, right? So that happens very easily with the ankles. Looks like this. My ankles sickle a lot, right? You see that shape? So we don't want that here. What we want is for the foot to flex, to press out through the big toe mound. Do you see how that straightened out my ankle? Right? That's what you want here. Yes, that's it. So sometimes I think about it too. Like, see, this is sickled ankles. As my ankles lifting. That makes sense. Yeah. Oh my gosh, this looks so much better. Now press your feet into each other. Yeah, Stacy, even more, because your ankles are still sickling. Think about your big toe mounds pressing out into each other. The other way. Like that. Maybe heels pressing out. Yeah. Yeah. And can you keep that and bring your toes together? Or you might lose it then. Yeah, you just lost it. Do you feel it?
Yeah.
So we work on it. Just practice. Okay, from here, inhale, lift your heart, and nice space, shoulders back. And exhale, hinge from your hips until you find your edge. So you can't go any further. And then you could let your upper back round. You could let your head, you could let this become more yin, right? Less muscular engagement. More relaxation. The one time. And here, think about your sitting bones moving back and apart. And every breath in, there's a lengthening and an inhalation of the spine. Crown of the head reaches forward. So even though we're holding this pose, we're in this kind of more static shape, there's still this pulsation and movement. Every breath in, expansion, length, space. Every breath out, release, drawing inward, deepening. And even if it's not a physical movement, we bring in this energetic quality. Inhale to rise. Bring your hands to the backs of your thighs, draw your knees in, extend your legs long, shake them out. Hug your right knee into your chest. Then flex your left foot. And then you're going to take your right foot and cross it over your left leg. Yeah, you down onto the ground, that's perfect. Bring your right hand behind you. You'll be up on your fingertips. And this is kind of like a little kickstand that should help you to be able to sit up a little taller. Maybe move more towards the fronts of your sitting bones. Inhale your left arm up. Exhale as you twist. Breathe out over the right shoulder. Notice your foundation. The entire length of the left leg presses down. Your hips root. And then from there, you inhale, lengthen. Maybe you untwist a little bit. And exhale. Maybe the twist becomes a little deeper. I think she can then just put like sliders on our table. Inhale to unwind, little counter twist in the other direction. And then inhale back to center. Release, shake it out. So right leg stays long, left knee hugs in. And cross your left foot over your right thigh. Bring your left hand behind you, as close to your low back as you could get it. Come up onto your fingertips, lengthen, press your hand down to lengthen your spine yet, and inhale, right arm up. Exhale as you twist. It used to be all the COVID years where I was just teaching from my house that I only had to worry about, my 4-year-olds walking in. Now it's anybody in Lambertville. Inhale to unwind and exhale, little twist in the other direction, little counter twist. Inhale back to center, go ahead and release and shake that out. Come onto our backs. Come onto your back and hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a little massage here on your low back. Making circles in one direction and then the other. Then come back to center. Keep your knees drawn in and place your hands so that the palms of your hands are on your kneecaps and your fingertips point down towards your toes. Yep. Then draw your knees in towards your chest, take them wide apart from each other. Then bring them away from your body and back together. So this big hip circle, knees draw in and in towards your body, get wide, move apart from each other and back to center. It's like a little easier to do when you don't think too much about it. And then the next time your knees come in together, you're going to reverse direction. So they stay together and move away from the body, then get wide. Then draw back in and come back together. Then hug your knees back into your chest. Take them wide one more time. This time soles of the feet come up towards the sky so you can find happy baby. You can grab the pinky toe edges of your feet. If that's not available, grab your ankles. If that's not available, you can grab your shins or you could even take your hands to the backs of your thighs. Knees move down towards the ground until someday they come and touch the earth. Someday. Sitting bones roll down towards the ground so that maybe there's a natural curve in the low back and a little space between your low back and your mat so that a little ladybug crawl through. That's only if your hips and your hip flexors are really open. But everybody has a different body. Some people are just born naturally flexible or naturally strong. Or neither. Hug your knees back into your chest. See if there's any other pose or stretch that your body needs that you can take now. And then when you're ready, you'll come onto your back fully and set up in Shavasana. We're going to do a guided meditation, so we'll be here for a little while. So make sure that you're comfortable. You could put a blanket roll or a bolster underneath your knees. You can cover up with a blanket, whatever you need to be as cozy, as warm, and as comfy as possible. And once you're here, bring your mind and your awareness to the present moment once again. Take a full breath in, and let it go with a sigh. Notice your breath. Allow it to be smooth and effortless. Feel your body on the ground. Allow all of your bones and your muscles to rest, to become heavy and rooted. You could even imagine that your mat is made of sand, a warm, sunny beach. And the outline of your body sinks into the sand and makes this indentation. Now imagine that it's a beautiful sunny day and that you're walking through a beautiful forest. As you breathe into yourself, imagine you were breathing in the life essence of the forest. You breathe in the oxygen created by the trees around you. You breathe in the shimmering golden light, the sunlight being filtered through the canopy of the trees. You breathe in the sturdy, solid strength of the tree's trunks. You breathe in the light, jovial sound, the chatter of the birds. And with each step that you take, the energies of the earth flow up through the bottoms of your feet. As you walk along, allow yourself to experience the trees, plants, flowers, the grass, and allow yourself to merge with the light and the harmony and the peace of the forest. As you continue to walk along, you notice that up ahead, it's getting lighter and that you're coming to the edge of the forest. You leave the forest and before you is a beautiful river. There are beautiful flowers growing along the riverbank, and there's a path following alongside it. You follow the path. Eventually, you come to a bend in the river. There's a light breeze blowing, causing the surface of the river to have small ripples, and the light reflects off of them so that the whole river seems to sparkle. You realize that this is not an ordinary light, but that it comes from somewhere spiritual. You allow this light to surround you. You breathe it in. It begins to illuminate every cell in your body and in your being until you become one with the light. Allow yourself to rest fully here, completely illuminated in Shavasana. Slowly begin to deepen your breath. Draw awareness back into your body as you begin to wiggle your fingers and your toes. You can start to move and stretch in any way that intuitively feels right for your body. Draw your knees into your chest. Roll to your right side. Take as long as you'd like here in this pause, giving yourself a hug, honoring yourself for your practice today. And then in your own time, use the strength of your arms to press yourself back up to find a comfortable seat. Once you arrive, close your eyes, sit up tall. Notice any shift or change in your body, in your mind, in your energetic and emotional experience. Notice your physical self connected to the ground. Feel your breath fill your body. Bring your hands together in front of your heart and once again, call back your intention. Feel free to modify or change it in any way to use with you as you move back out into your daily life. And we'll end our class and seal in our intentions with a final cleansing breath. Take a deep breath in and let it go. Gently bow your head to your heart. The light within me recognizes and honors this very same light in each one of you. Namaste. Thank you all so much for your practice today. It's so lovely to be here with you. Before I forget, there is no class next week because I will be here teaching a Reiki training, Reiki level 1. If you're interested in learning how to give Reiki to yourself and to others or become a Reiki practitioner, that's the level for you. And I'll see you the following week. Right? Thank you all.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay,
Bye. So glad you could both make it.
thank you.